welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is young African American professionals, and we're fortunate to have here to talk about young African American professionals, Pastor Kay Walker and Mr. Brandon Van Leer. And of course, I think, Pastor Walker, let me welcome you and Van Leer to a new season in a real sense, and to know that this is Mr. Van Leer's first time being with us. But as you know, and as you've probably told him, you've been with us for the last 25 years. And so I think that our audience is quite familiar with Pastor Kay Walker. And of course, what we'll have you to do is to make some statements in reference to your background, education, and experience. And Mr. Van Leer can then make the same information in reference to his situation. And we'll be out of this first 6-minute segment. And then we can talk about young professionals and talking specifically about Van Leer and you as a professional. Let's do it from that perspective.
Well, thanks a lot, Dr. Haney. Good morning once again. Thanks for having us on the show. Very informative show here. Comments. I think Pastor Kelvin L. Walker, born right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Good parents. Raised me right, taught me right. You led me and steered me in the right direction. Of course, I was one of those hard-headed ones, and I went off in the wrong direction. Raised up in the public school system and stuff up until a certain point where when I decided to learn, I would learn. When I didn't want to learn, I didn't want to learn. So it got to a point where I was just a bad guy, at that time, and eventually I got put out of the public school system, got in trouble, ended up shooting a guy. And Judge Jenkins, Richard Jenkins, in the juvenile court system, decided that I would be better off if I went to the military. So I went into the United States Navy at the age of 17, stayed in there a little while, and got out. Pursued a GED through a OIC, Opportunities Industrialization Center. Got that 6-month program there. Got that GED, then pursued some studies at Tennessee State University. Wanted to become a fashion designer. But at the time, Dr. Haney, I was caught up in drugs. My drug addiction, heroin addiction would not allow me to stay in school. So I ended up bailing out of school and everything, and ended up incarcerated in the state prison system because of some various number of crimes that I committed, and got out of the prison system, of course, unreformed, unchanged. And but in 1986, on August 24th, 1986, God divinely intervened in my life, man. And he stopped the 17+ year drug addiction, called me into ministry, and that's been what I've been doing for the last almost 33 years now. And I'm just delighted to be on your show and to bring this young brother on the show that I just recently met, man, that's aspiring to do some great things in the professional realm in terms of entrepreneurship, and just let him tell you something about himself.
What about you, Mr. Van Leer?
I'm here from Nashville, Tennessee, born and raised. My parents are both from Kentucky. My sister, she's here. I attended East Nashville Magnet School, and after that I went to Tennessee State University on a scholarship, a full academic scholarship. I did not know I was going to get that, but thanks to my guidance counselor, she put my name in the lottery for it, and I just so happened to get the scholarship. And that was a blessing for me, from my parents, and I had to pay for school and all that. So I went to school, wasn't sure what I was going to major in, but I knew I wanted to do something with graphic design, and I wanted to do something with arts. And so I put the two together, and I just came up with graphic design. And then after that, 4 years passed by. I joined Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. I was a bachelor's for a year, which is a president, Greek term for president. And then I graduated last year, and so now I'm on my own. I'm trying to make a career out of my graphic design, a career out of my artwork, and now I'm here just pushing forward.
Mm-hmm. And so, Pastor Walker, you serve as a mentor for a large number of young people in a real sense. And what do you see in this young man in terms of why it's important what he's doing?
Well, Dr. Haney, I'm inspired because, a lot of times, how it is when we turn our television sets on, Dr. Haney, and the first thing, a lot of times we see is the negative news stories about something, some young black man has done, some crime that, have been committed. And I'm first to say that when I was committing crimes, I was guilty. I did it, you know what I'm saying? And I should have been arrested and should have been incarcerated when I did it. But at the same time, it seems like crimes are committed, but the crimes that the black male commits seem like they're more highlighted, they're more exaggerated, more expressions are lent to it. And it sends a bad signal to the community, to society, that says that we're all bad, you know, and that there's none of us that are good. So, and when you encounter young black males, you know, of course, I know this is a myth. I know this is stupidity. And for somebody to even think like that, you know, you got to check, you know, wonder where their thinking has been derived from in the first place. But at the same time, when you see a young black man, you know, doing what he's doing, inspiring to grow, man, it's inspiring.
Okay, so what we'll do, we'll take our first commercial break, and we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short break. Van Leer. This will give you an opportunity to talk about some of the things that you'd like to talk about. I need some water. Yeah.
Now, what picture is that one right there?
That's Barack Obama.
Oh, man.
I only had one easel, so.
Oh, yeah.
And so this will give you an opportunity, Ms. Van Leer.
Maybe after you get a shot of that one, you could probably put that other. She could probably put that other one up there.
Mm-hmm. So,
You got one of Mr. Obama there too.
yes, sir. That's Barack Obama.
Oh, see, you see that? I didn't see that.
It's just it's just flipped around. I only had brought one easel.
And so you did one of Malcolm X, and you've got.
I have a collection about 15 portraits or so.
Oh yeah. Well, you talk about that. You know, tell us about what you're doing and why it's important in terms of what you're doing, and especially why you are concerned with these African American historical figures. You know, Malcolm X and et cetera, and some of the others that you have as images.
Okay.
How you got into artwork and all of that stuff.
Take that much to get me a drink of water.
So I'll talk about that. And I'll talk about my parents my dad and my sister are very artistic. And I grew up in an artistic household. So
Great, man. Yeah, talk about all of that, because it shows your roots, man, and what you growed up out of, you know.
And so this 8-minute segment, Mr. Van Leer. Now what do I do with this? He'll be back. He can't move until he get over there anyway.
Yeah, because a lot of people talk about the environments, our environments and stuff like that, and how
I'll put it somewhere.
when they talk about it, they talk about how
Just set it there.
they always talk about how the negative environment impacts us. They don't talk about how the positive environment impacts us.
Okay,
So
this
when
is
we
the
talk
second
about
segment of this show, right?
Yes, sir. Second segment.
if I messed up.